Welcome to tonight's event. We got a great crowd, good turnout. Appreciate you showing up. My name's Charlie Murphy. I'm the Vice Chair of the St. Charles Chamber of Commerce Board. And we are honored to be here to kick off the meeting tonight. The event is an extension of the Chamber's partnership with the city. For many years, the Chamber of Commerce has hosted the City Update event in the fall. So this is a little bit different and exciting. We're excited to host tonight's event with the city to reflect on the progress in partnership with the city, the library, District 303, and the Park District. To help kick off the evening, please enjoy a short video highlighting St. Charles at its best. And now live from the Arcada Theatre in St. Charles, Illinois, your mayor, Clint Hall.
All right. So Charlie, I didn't know that you hit the bar before you came in. We gotcha. Well, first of all, everybody, welcome to the historic Arcada Theatre. We are so excited to see you tonight and to be able to share with you what's going on in our beloved city, the city of St. Charles. Start right out of the gate by telling you that one is we want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for changing this up a little bit. This was something that happened during the day. It was something that was directed mostly at the business community. Very important for me and for all of us to share with you, our citizens, what's going on here in St. Charles. And so we wanted to have it at night. We wanted it to be accessible. And we're just so wonderful to see so many people here. The theme tonight is progress through partnership. And that's not by accident. Because what we know and what you know is that our city is about partnerships. It's not one individual. It's not one organization. We rise together. And so tonight, I want to start by just thanking our partners. Those partners are the St. Charles School District, the St. Charles Library, the St. Charles Park District, the Township, our Chamber, our business owners like Ron Onesti and the Arcada Theatre, and most importantly, all of you. So tonight, you're going to get to hear from the Park District. You're going to get to hear from the library, from the schools, and you're going to get to hear from the city. And I hope that you will enjoy tonight. A couple things about just the format. We were asked, are we going to pass the mic around for questions? The minute that I saw them selling beer, I said no. What we decided to do is, because there's so much information to share, we're going to be available afterwards for questions. And we always want to hear from you. So if you don't get your question answered tonight, all you have to do is email or call, and we're going to answer those questions for you. The second way we're going to do this is the Park District, the School District, the Library are going to start. We're going to finish up. And we have lots of information, so I want to go ahead and get started. So I think that we are starting tonight with the St. Charles Library. I'm going to introduce the board president, Mary Cruz, coming up. Now, Mary, as you're coming up, live from St. Charles. It's a couple questions for Mary. We have the St. Charles Library, very, very great library. We have about 36,000 people. Trying to figure out how many items do you think you check out? Or I'm thinking like 300,000, 400,000? No? Higher? What do we think?
Well, first of all, Mayor Hall, that's an excellent question. Thank you so much. And the answer is, drum roll please, a little over 1 million items.
Last question. In 7th grade, I had to read Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't think I've turned that back in. Any problems?
That's also an excellent question, and I just want to thank you so much for the reminder. I will send you an email tomorrow. I encourage you to finish it. How is everyone doing tonight? Thanks so much for being here, and I'm so honored to be able to kick this off. So, good evening. My name is Mary Cruz, and I have the absolute pleasure of representing the St. Charles Public Library Board of Trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to speak as part of this year's State of the City address. And thank you so much for your continued support of our public library as an essential part of the city's excellent service to residents. Your public library has been working hard for you, and I am excited to share highlights from the past year, along with a look of what's ahead. As the board president, I have a front row seat to the impact our library makes every day through our dedicated staff, our responsive services, and vibrant resources. Over the past year, we have worked intentionally to meet people where they are and to respond to the evolving needs of our community. I open each monthly board meeting by reading our mission statement to underscore the meaningful impact our library has on the community. And I am so excited to share it with you today. The mission at the St. Charles Public Library is to support the growth and creativity of the individual and to build the spirit of the community by providing welcoming spaces, robust collections, responsive services, and enriching programs. Our mission guides everything we do. One key focus over the past 2 years has been ensuring that the library is a welcoming and inclusive space for people with disabilities. We partner with local organizations, including School District 303, to bring transition students into the library for valuable work experience at our Daily Bean coffee shop. If you are at the library, please stop by the Daily Bean between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. We're going to be on break from 5:27 to 6:10, but we can't wait to see you this summer. Fox Valley Special Recreation and Rising Lights also visit the library monthly for programs that entertain, engage, and offer meaningful skill-building opportunities. Alongside this work, we've completed the first year of ADA accessibility upgrades to help ensure our spaces are safe, they are compliant, and welcoming to everyone. With nearly 1,000 people visiting the library each day, our goal is simple: that every person feels a sense of belonging the moment they walk through those doors. We also made important progress in preserving the community's investment in our beautiful and historic building. After months of planning, the first stage of building upgrades has officially begun. Residents will notice changes to our parking lot this month as we improve accessible parking options and make our busy lot safer and easier to navigate, particularly for those with mobility challenges. In addition, we are working to protect the life of our roofs, which span more than 60,000 square feet. Our historic Carnegie Wing will also see important upgrades, including enhanced security, improved weatherproofing, and insulation repairs that help prevent frozen pipes during winter months. This portion of our building was constructed in 1908, just 2 years after the library was founded. And our goal is to preserve it thoughtfully so we can continue serving the community for as long as possible. Strong libraries are built on strong partnerships, and we are very proud of our continued collaboration with Fox Valley Literacy Volunteers. This nonprofit organization offers free tutoring to non-English speakers using the library for instruction, study space, and volunteer training. We're also pleased to provide office space for their staff and to witness firsthand their incredible work reducing barriers for individuals and families new to our country. As St. Charles continues to grow and change, the library is very committed to evolving alongside of it. This year, we've offered programs entirely in Spanish and hired staff whose primary role is to connect with Spanish-speaking residents and ensure they have equitable access to library services. We will continue expanding Spanish language programs and collections and increasing our community outreach to better understand and respond to residents' needs. In 2025, we also launched our Community Cabinet, a micro pantry designed to support individuals experiencing food insecurity. We recognize that resource sharing is an increasingly important role for public institutions, and this initiative reflects our commitment to meeting essential community needs with dignity and with care. Local organizations have generously donated funds and non-perishable food items to our micro pantry, including a massive food drive completed by School District 303 that resulted in over 15,000 items being contributed. At our core, the library remains grounded in providing wide-ranging access to materials and information. From books, databases, movies and music, to educational tools and STEAM kits, access remains our foundation. Our Beyond Books collection allows residents to borrow such items as projectors, karaoke machines, Wi-Fi hotspots, fitness equipment, and more. And our heirloom seed library continues to flourish. Last year alone, we distributed more than 10,000 packets of seeds, encouraging conservation, education, and healthy living throughout the community. And just last year, our community checked out over 850,000 physical items and over 200,000 digital items. This is clearly a city that loves their library. This October, we are excited to bring back a longtime community favorite, our One Book, One Community program. Library staff are already hard at work planning a month of shared experiences, including book discussions, workshops, and a cultural programming centered on the selected novel, The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. This program will culminate in a free public visit from the author herself, offering residents a unique opportunity to connect directly with the story and its creator. Together, we will explore themes of fate, ancestral history, and the complex nature of humanity, using literature as a way to spark dialogue, deepen our understanding, and bring our community together. None of this work happens in isolation. Over the past year, the library deepened partnerships with the city, local schools, the Park District, and many other community organizations. These collaborations allow us to amplify impact, share our expertise, and deliver more seamless, human-centered public service. When we work together, residents benefit, and one example of this is outreach to local residents. Hundreds of senior residents receive book delivery on a regular basis and enjoy programming from our library teams for those who reside in the facilities that we visit. We also proudly stock free and used books at Lazarus House, the Salvation Army, and the Geneva train station, to name a few. We are grateful for the ability to work with these businesses and organizations who welcome our staff into their building and partner to offer more important services to the community. We are proud to share how much usage of the library has grown in the last several years. In addition to our amazing partnerships and phenomenal usage of our collection, in-person attendance is on the rise. Last year, we served 50,000 people of all ages by engaging them in free public programs. Whether it was a classical concert sponsored by the Library Foundation, or the summer reading kickoff program sponsored by our Friends group, or even a magic show put on by a local performer, we are so grateful for the staff who plan these events and the many community members who attend them. There's always something exciting happening, so be sure to download the library app and get access to program registration for all upcoming events. Looking ahead, we are especially excited to share that the library received a grant through State Representative Matt Hansen's office to support the creation of a sensory garden on our grounds by the end of 2027. This outdoor learning space will provide an inclusive, welcoming environment designed to engage visitors of all ages and abilities through touch, sound, scent, and visual experiences. Features will include accessible walking paths, raised and ground-level garden beds, seating areas, interactive sensory elements, and educational signage highlighting native plants and environmental concepts. We are so grateful for our state leaders who recognize the value of libraries and help make meaningful projects like this possible. The library will continue investing in outreach, emerging technology, facility preservation, and equity throughout the Fox Valley area. Strong public services depend on skilled people and intentional planning, and our board is proud to support the library's leadership and staff as they carry this work forward. So in closing, I just want to say thank you so much to Mayor Hall, the City Council, the city staff, and our incredible community for recognizing the library as a vital civic partner. This past year demonstrates what's possible when public institutions listen, adapt, and collaborate. Inspiration awaits at the St. Charles Public Library. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, again, what I discovered as a kid, my mom was an English teacher at the high school, and she would take us to the library, and what I figured out after I became an adult is she needed an hour break, so she sent us down to the kids section in the beanbags. I used pen when I did the Highlights magazine, I'm sorry, and we are just blessed to have a place. A couple things before we move on to the school district. Fred Norris was in town recently, mayor for 20 years, and tonight you're going to hear me reference a couple things that he said and that he has written about. But one of the things that Fred wrote in 1997 was he said, "You learn very fast from St. Charles residents that they want their hometown to be exceptional, not acceptable." And that statement is true today, 30 years later. And it's true of all of our community partners. So when we talk about that, the other thing when you become a new mayor is you get a call from the surrounding mayors like Kevin Burns and Jeff Schilke, and they were gracious to want to give me a lot of advice. And the very first piece of advice that Jeff Schilke gave me after 40 years of being a mayor is, he said, always remember, Mayor Hall, how important schools are to the health of your community. People move to your community for schools, and never forget that. And I am so excited to introduce Dr. Paul Gordon, the superintendent of District 303. Paul, take it away.
Good evening, St. Charles. I am Paul Gordon, and I am humbled and honored to be the superintendent of the mighty, mighty St. Charles School District, the mighty D303. It really is an honor to serve in this capacity as the superintendent. St. Charles community is a destination community. It's why you all came here. And as the amazing Mayor Hall said, you have to have a destination school district. We are a destination school district. I'm pretty good with words, but we're also going to show you some facts about why I stand behind that statement. Better together, we truly believe in what Mayor Hall was talking about. We only rise up together. We only rise up together when we wrap our arms around each other and we make a commitment to what we want to achieve within this community, within our district. We are better together. Our commitment statement is together building pathways for excellence. Together was one of the most important words when we sat for over a year developing our strategic plan. Every word was strategically chosen. Together, for us, means coming together. To really think differently about how are we best going to serve each and every one of our students. We have 11,700 amazing young people who come to us each and every day with their gifts and their talents and ready to grow and shine. And they come from all of you and your neighbors and your grandkids to be better together. Our current academic standings. I'm going to get out of the way because this stuff's going to impress you. I'm going to let you take that in for a second. So in our district, where we're measured, you can look up all this stuff on Illinois School Report Card. We're in the 91st percentile. We're in the 93rd percentile and 91st percentile. That's your community, that's your school district doing great things for our kids. That's what we continue to do in D303. We have phenomenal educators. I have the distinct privilege of being in classrooms. Last week, I've substitute taught 8 times this year. Holy macaroni. It's been a day. I was a former classroom teacher. But why do I do that? I don't do it to say this. I do it to understand what our teachers are living every day. I was in Wasco Elementary last Friday. I was a resource teacher, special education resource teacher, working directly with students all day long. No one subbed me out, just in there to see what our teachers are doing. Every one of you should be so proud of the educators that are working directly with our children to get these types of results. So in a very short amount of time, from 2021 to 2025, we're putting dollars back in our kids' and our families' pockets. Why do I say that? Every one of these courses our students pass are credit bearing. That's one less class that they are having to pay for when they go off to college. Gone from 66% to 88%. 88% of all of our students in D303, unlike all school districts around Illinois, every student who takes an AP course, you will sit for an AP exam. That is not the expectation in other districts. We say, you know what, we're so dang good. I'm pretty pleased with my language right there. That we know our kids are going to be able to rock this. So we're increasing there. Well, Dr. Gordon, what does that mean? So what? You have more kids doing that. Just take this in. I'm going to get out of the way and be quiet for a half a second. I'll give you a little. The top is us, D303. CBC, the CB Success, that's College Board, so that's all other students. I don't know about you. Who took AP Pre-Calc? Calc BC? They wouldn't even let me come near the classroom. It wasn't even a question if I was going to go in and take the class. They were like, you know what, Paul? How about you go stand down the hallway? You don't even belong. Calc BC, one of the most challenging courses any school district offers, 96% pass rate. What's a pass rate? You have to score a 3 or greater for colleges to accept that and take a credit away. That's what our kids are doing. That's what your kids are doing. That's what our community's doing. That's what our teachers are doing. That's what our administrators are doing. They're crushing it. Together, I really do believe this. And it's the message, Mayor Hall, together. Strong schools equals strong community. We all believe that. We're a destination community. We're a destination school district. Most people don't know this. Just take a moment here. Close to 12,000 kids we serve each and every day. 21 buildings, 2.1 million square feet. We have a lot of roofs. We have a lot of parking lots. We have a lot of boilers. We have a lot of playgrounds. Nothing very fancy, but we got a lot of it. And we need it every day for our kids to really thrive and our teachers to thrive. So we invited our community in to come hang out with us for 5 months, which is super fun hanging out with Paul for 5 months. Not so much. So this is what they did. We really went around and we checked out our schools. Like, what's going on in our schools? And these are the things they looked at. Again, not very exciting. Finishes, furniture, safety alarms, masonry windows, doors, facades, mechanical, electrical, parking lots, concrete site, and athletic and playgrounds. So we did a deep dive into our schools and our facilities. Because we're doing so many really good things in D303. You saw the data on our academics. We're really making sure that every dollar is spent incredibly wisely, but our facilities are a challenge. Our facilities, I'm going to show you some pictures that really surprised our community when they came out. Again, D303 is a destination school district because of our academics. Our facilities don't match. Just going to be honest with you, our facilities don't match. These are real, this is every day. 1960s are alive and well in our bathrooms. Welcome. And I joke about that, but I want to be real serious. Because I talk to our students. I have a student advisory group, high school students. You know what? None of us would want to go to the restroom in some of these places. But you know what our kids do? These are our East High School field house, our pools. We did tours. We went out. We took people out. They saw our facilities. And guess what? They weren't happy. Actually, we did a state of the facilities and people were angry. How did we get here? Who's to blame? I'm sitting there like, hey, I've been here for like 2 weeks, it feels like. 4 years. And they were frustrated. They were frustrated and they're like, how did we get here? Because there's only so much in a budget that we can accomplish. So this group came together and said, we recommend these 16 projects, and it's the community group. We recommend these 16 projects go forward to the board. And the board really take a hard look at what needs to be accomplished. And I'm telling you, there's nothing fancy in this. It's that stuff. It's the stuff that you saw the pictures of. That's what they recommended us doing. There's not a lot of big glass and shiny chrome and metal. There's none of that stuff. It's just trying to do some basic things for our kids. They asked, how did we get here? I know this is hard. In Illinois and throughout the United States, this is what we do in education. Every 25 years, every generation, school districts pass referendums to do this work for your schools, for your community. That's what this work does. We're going to be sending out the ROI. You all know this. You all know this. When a house goes up for sale, I'll guarantee you D303 is within the first 3 bullet points of your sales information. Is it not? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because why do people come here? Our schools. So I sat with tons of parents and community members. Why did you come here? Schools. We had choices. We could have gone to U46. We could have gone to Geneva, Batavia. Came to D303, baby. This is the return on investment for us in our community. But here's the best piece. The board's in the process of having really hard conversations. But we need you. Together, we do this work together. So there's going to be a postcard in every D303 boundaried mailbox. You'll be seeing it between Saturday and next Friday, depending on your post office. There's going to be a QR code on that thing. Take out your phone, take the survey. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about the district. Tell us what you think about this work here. We are better together. I so appreciate all of you. I do think there was going to be question and answers until Clint realized the school district was going to come up, and we're like, oh, we better not do that. We better not do it. We'll be here all night. I think I was the reason why. I just so appreciate all of you. If you have questions, and I apologize, Tonight is the North Honors Night that I will be a part of, so I have to leave. I would give anything to hang out with all of you, and I really do mean that, but I do need to hang out with our students who are being recognized for all of their excellence. Thank you all. Can I have this?
Thanks, Dr. Gordon. Just show of hands, I'd love to see it. How many D303 grads do we have in the room? D303 grads. So, and granddaughters as well. So very, very cool. So, a couple things before we turn on to the Park District. And Dr. Gordon, thank you so much for coming. Tell those North Stars congratulations. Yeah. Somebody just said, go Saints. I'm the mayor, I can't cheer. But okay. No, all right. Couple different things. One is, although I recognized the Arcada, I want to recognize them again. I don't know if Ron is in the building, but one of the great things is about having something like this right in downtown St. Charles. And so we're so appreciative of the Arcada for sharing this with us tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we didn't want to call out different organizations, but I do want to put a shout out to the St. Charles, or the museum, from a standpoint that the museum was supposed to have a fundraiser tonight, and we put our event on the same night as their fundraiser. So that was just, we talk about communication, how we have to do a better job. They were kind enough to switch it till tomorrow, so you can get more information right outside. But again, a huge thank you to the St. Charles History Museum for pushing that fundraiser off another day. Before I introduce the Park District, I just want to share with you what happened to me on Saturday. So Saturday, I have a good friend from Carmel, Indiana. I met him about 15 years ago. And for 15 years, I've been bragging about St. Charles. And he's been bragging about Carmel. And ultimately said, I've read about Carmel. St. Charles is better than Carmel. Come out and see for yourself. And so he came down to Carmel along with his 93-year-old dad. And they met me down at City Hall. And I was trying to be very gracious and said, I'd love for you to tour St. Charles today. And usually I'm always looking at my watch and I'm trying to go from an appointment to appointment. But what I did on Saturday is I showed the Capsalis family the city of St. Charles. Mr. Capsalis, 93 years old, said, hey, I want to take you to the Park District. I want to show you Potawatomi Park. You want me to drive you there? He said, who do you think I am? I'm 93 years old. I can walk. And walk he did. And so we got on the trail, and we went by the Equibot statue. We went by the Freedom Trail. We walked all the way down to Potawatomi. And at the end of the day, when I asked him what his favorite part of St. Charles was, he said, Potawatomi Park. Potawatomi Park. And so when they left, they didn't give me that St. Charles was better than Carmel. I tried. I thought, hey, Mr. Capsalis, why don't you move to St. Charles? He said, well, I've only been in Carmel for 50 years. I think I'm going to stay. But I'll give it to you that St. Charles has the wow factor. But Holly, as I introduce you and I introduce the St. Charles Park District, he did give us that our green space, Potawatomi, the Public Works project, and everything else he saw was unbelievable. And I said, the St. Charles Park District is a gem, and it's led by a St. Charles grad who's been in that pool for 40, 45 years. So, Holly Cable, our executive director.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Holly Cable, Director of the St. Charles Park District, and it's my honor to stand before you and share the state of the St. Charles Park District. The Park District's mission is to enrich the quality of life through excellence in programs, parks, facilities, and services. What that means to me, after Clint has said how long I've been there, thanks, is where kids experience the first dance class, where environmental education is not only introduced, but championed. Friendships, social connections are formed, new skills are learned, hobbies start, traditions begin. Our parks and facilities are where our community gathers and where it grows stronger together. This past year has been one of momentum and meaningful progress. Tonight, I'm going to take you through our programs, facilities, and parks to show you how we've met our mission. Our expanded recreational program serves residents of all ages, from our early childhood enrichment to active adult programming, from arts and music to athletics and fitness. Participation numbers continue to grow over the years, reflecting not only the increased demand, but increased trust in the experiences we provide. This past year, we had over 30,000 registrations in 2,400 programs. Our innovative staff continue to stay on trend and bring in the latest programs and events for all to enjoy. In addition to our programs, we had over 100,000 attend our annual special events. We were delighted to engage with our community through either our summer concert series on Thursday night at Lincoln Park, our 4th of July, our Light Up the Sky, Pickle Paradise, egg hunts, and of course, Earth Day. We saw record attendance at these events, but more importantly, families gathered, neighbors connected, memories were made. In our facilities, they support our innovative programming and aid to meeting the needs of our community. Since entering into an intergovernmental agreement in 2016 with School District 303 for the management of Norris Rec Center, membership has grown to over 3,800 and had a 98% retention rate. Members get to enjoy tennis, pickleball, fitness, and aquatics. Our Hickory Knolls Discovery Center experienced a significant increase in use and visits in 2025 due to renovation of space to expand nature-based preschool, youth and early childhood programming, and summer nature camps. We continue to serve the community with environmental education and had over 2,500 students attend field trips last year. Staff also takes nature education on the road through our outreach program, educating assisted living members, garden clubs, community service clubs. They visit as many 15 different locations each month. Potawatomi Community Center remains the hub of our programming and events. It's home to our gymnasium for basketball, pickleball, and volleyball, our Potawatomi preschool, our St. Charles dance program, and our adult activity center for those 50 and better. Our Primrose Farm was recently enhanced with construction of a new education building, and this was assisted with a $700,000 Illinois Public Museum grant. The new building allows staff to program classes year-round, enhance their animal education classes, and provide school programs that serve almost 1,000 students. The farm, historic barn, are host to our community favorites of barn dances and hay rides. The St. Charles Park District is well known for its popular seasonal facilities. Swanson Pool and Otter Cove Aquatic Park are not only popular destinations to cool off during the heat of the summer with over 150,000 visitors, but we are also one of our largest employee locations, having to fill up 450 seasonal jobs. Potawatomi Golf Course is our beautiful 9-hole course, of which golfers played 35,000 rounds of golf last summer. The course, though, also supports our local high school programs for their practices and tournaments. For you golfers out there, we're in the middle of our bunker project, and we're also implementing an orange tee program that focuses on short distance play. Our paddle wheel riverboats, the Park District purchased in 2018, continue to be popular and a unique destination for our community. Passengers cruise the scenic river, and among the many specialty cruises we host each season, we especially are proud of our collaboration with the St. Charles History Museum that provides our Sunday evening history cruises. Our Riverview Mini Golf Course attracts thousands each year for mini golfing, kayaking, and pedal boating. This fall, we're excited to be renovating both that course and building. The Park District relies on not only our facilities, but our park systems to support our programming and public needs. We have 67 parks and over 1,500 acres of land, and they continue to be well-maintained and renovated to meet the needs of our community. We completed critical playground upgrades, improved trails, revitalized park amenities, and invested in field renovations. Tonight, I'm happy to share just a few of our projects. At Eastside Sports Complex, We have just opened our new bathroom and concession building. This was one of the highly rated need on our last community survey and will accommodate thousands of people who attend tournaments and visit the park on an annual basis. We heard about Potawatomi Park earlier from Mayor Hall. This is still our highest visited park. We continued revitalization efforts to preserve the historic charm with the addition of the Potawatomi Park Pavilion. This project was possible thanks to an incredible generosity of a private donor. We also replaced the other riverfront pavilion, ensuring it remains vibrant and accessible for future generations. Along the scenic Fox River, we enhanced pathways and river access, strengthening our identity as a riverfront community. At the end of 2025, we completed Primrose Farm Park renovation. This renovation was supported by a $600,000 open space land acquisition development grant through the state. The project included new pickleball courts, a new adult ninja course, and as well as improving accessibility to the amenities and enhancing parking. Simply put, our parks are busy, they're beautiful, and they continue to be a place of community engagement. Beyond the projects and numbers, our greatest achievements is impact. Because collaboration multiplies impact, we are honored to continue to work with our partners, with School District 303, with the City of St. Charles, St. Charles Public Library, our local service organizations, and community groups. Thank you for your continued partnership. We see the Park District impact in our community through youth athletics. The Park District partners with local soccer, football, baseball, softball, rugby, basketball organization to ensure field, court spaces for their athletes to succeed and thrive. To ensure that persons of all abilities can participate fully in our facilities, parks, and programs, the Park District works with Fox Valley Special Recreation Association. In 2025, Fox Valley Special Rec supported over 72 individuals across 44 different programs with over 5,000 hours of inclusion services. Demand for inclusions continues to rise, and last year's figures reflect a 31% increase. Conservation and ecological restoration remains a priority. The St. Charles Park District is unique in having over 400 acres of dedicated natural areas. This includes our 2 state nature preserves with Fearson Creek Fen and Norris Woods, native plantings, sustainable maintenance practices, and conservation initiatives reflect that commitment to protect open space for generations to come. A huge shout out to our volunteers who assist with this continued maintenance of the treasured green spaces. Last year, our volunteers in this area had close to 2,000 hours of planting, collecting seeds, and removing those fun invasives. Teen programming continues to be a focus of the St. Charles Park District. Our teen center, the SDC Underground, is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Continues to provide a safe and supervised space for middle school and high school students. Membership has grown to over 2,000 members. And in the last 3 years, monthly visits are actually up by 90%. In addition, the St. Charles Underground hosts our summer teen camp for middle school. This has also seen a growth of 40% over the past 3 years. This year, the teen camp has close to 700 participants, meeting the needs of families with teens during the summer months. For our 50 and older population, we host trips, fitness programs, educational classes. We are so proud to have the Adult Activity Center located at Potawatomi Community Center as a place for our older adults to have access to computers, make social connections, and learn new skills and hobbies. Our membership and offering continues to expand. Last year, we had 470 members and experienced over 10,000 visits. While we are proud of what we've accomplished, we're more excited about what's coming. In the coming year, we will advance long-range master planning, continue investment in playground modernization, ADA accessibility, explore expanded indoor rec opportunities, continue focus on trail maintenance and connections, increase community engagement initiatives to ensure resident voices help shape our priorities. On the screen are our main projects for 2026. Our first one is our new 18-hole disc golf course at Prairie View Point Park, with weather dependent, hopefully opening at the end of the month. Our next two projects is renovating East Side Sports Complex as well as Harvest Hills Park. Both these projects are supported by a state grant. Each one had a grant of $600,000 that supports those renovations. Then we'll go into renovating Riverview Mini Golf and beginning work with our Cambridge residents on their park. Our vision is clear. We're preserve what makes St. Charles special, to evolve where growth demands it, and to ensure that every resident feels that parks, facility, programs are designed for them. I want to thank our park commissioners, our dedicated staff, volunteers, our St. Charles Park Foundation, our community partners, and most of all, the residents, who make St. Charles such a special place to live, work, and of course, recreate.
So just one of the things that I think is important to know is when we talk about intergovernmental cooperation, we don't come here one night and talk about it. It's something that we work on each and every day, because when we talk about our taxpayer dollars and we talk about wanting to be good stewards, we realize that the more we work together, the better we're going to be. And so we meet once a month officially with an agenda where we all get together, but we are always talking. So we're going to start talking about the state of the city. And so right out of the gate, the question again is, who are our partners? And I just want to reiterate, when we look at who are our partners, it's our intergovernmental agencies that you heard from. It's also our business community. It's our service organizations. It's our 501c3s. And it's all of you. And again, I'm just going to say one more time how much I appreciate you being here today. And I appreciate how active our community is. Over the last year, we've had lots of different council meetings where our council chambers have been packed. And we've had a lot, and we've heard a lot. I would take full council chambers every day versus somebody that's not engaged and people that don't care. So we are blessed to have a wonderful community. All right, I'm also introducing today, we've got a little bit of a panel discussion going. We've got Heather McGuire, who is our city administrator. We have Derek Conley, who is our Director of Economic Development. So let's get started. First up, I want to start out by talking about our city council. And our elected officials, our treasurer, John Harrell, and our clerk, Jessica Bridges. You guys like those pictures? So we have a number of our council members right over here, and I'd love to just start out by giving them a round of applause. 5 wards, 10 council members. Their voice is your voice. What I will tell you is, after a year of being mayor, what I can tell you is that we are lucky to have 10 council members, 9 right now because Bob Gem just resigned, but 10 council members who are engaged, who care, who listen, who talk, not only to you, but to one another. And so just really, really blessed to have that and to have that type of engagement. Next up, boards and commissions. One of the things that I did not know when I became the mayor of St. Charles was how many boards and commissions we had. It's astounding. Over 100 residents who are appointed by the city to serve the city of St. Charles and to represent a number of different people. Big pay. Any board members here? Any commissioners here? How much you making? Zero. And so Steve Leffler, we got a lot of different people that are here, but you know what, again, they do it because they love the city, and we appreciate that. Just to give you an example, I know it's up there, but I want to talk to you about some of the commissions. We have the Youth Commission. Youth Commission that's designed and who is working on trying to make sure we hear the voices of our students and of our youth to make sure that we're addressing the needs and trying to do whatever we can for them. Recently, we just reactivated our Senior Commission. I cannot tell you how excited I am about that. We have a number of people who have lived in this community a long time or who just moved here. But they are involved. They want to stay involved. We want them to stay involved. And that committee, I can't wait to see the work that's going to be done. We have our Equity and Inclusion Commission, whose goal is to talk about, we want everyone that comes to St. Charles and everyone that lives in St. Charles to feel welcome. And it's one of the most active commissions we have. And we have our Natural Resource Commission, who's made sure that we're a tree city, that we are a bird city. And I will tell you, what's a bird city? Well, you know what they said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot that goes into it. And the bottom line is we have community members that care a great deal about their environment and want to help make sure that the city does as well. Next up, Public Recognition Week is this week, and it's so timely. And I was going to really, after I read Fred Norris's letter, I thought, well, I might just stand up here and read Fred Norris's 8-page letter about what he thinks about the city of St. Charles. And the reason is because there were so many things that he was so spot on. And I want to read a quote, that he put down in 1997. He said, "Pride of the Fox, not just words, it's a culture. We live that." And he said, "The city of St. Charles strives to hire the best. Even after they're hired, we encourage our employees to get more training and education and to actively participate in the community. I am a firm believer that you grow your own success. St. Charles stands tall and proud in this area. We have the best." I'm looking over here at some of our directors, and we have other employees, and I will tell you that, you know what? We do have the best. We do have the best. Over 300 strong, and if we could give them a round of applause for the work that they do. Next up, as I became mayor and I talked about things that were important, we have to acknowledge that in our country right now, there's a lot that's going on. And there's a lot of reasons why we can get down, and there's a lot of reasons why we can disagree. But you know what? What I really wanted to do, and what I think we always have to do, is to remember how blessed we are to live in a community like this and to celebrate. We have lots and lots to celebrate. And so I wanted to bring on, and with permission of the council, we did the Spirit of St. Charles Awards. And it's to recognize youth in our community, adults in our community, organizations in our community that make St. Charles what it is. I unabashedly, I don't apologize for this, I never have. St. Charles is the best city in the state of Illinois. Hands down. Kevin Burns, take that. Wherever you are, Kevin, take that. But it's because of the people. It's because of the partnerships. And so I just wanted to call out one representative. We gave a Spirit of St. Charles Award to a woman by the name of Beth Swiderski. We gave it to her in January for her service to Lazarus House. I called Lazarus House and I said, "Could you give me an example of just one person who serves our community?" And she said, "You know, it's not easy to do, but I do have somebody, and she's going to kill me because she's the last person that would ever want to be recognized." And this is what he said about Beth. "She's volunteered here since 2019. She is always behind the scenes. That's where she wants to be. She cares for our kids. She serves meals. She greets at the front door. Her reliability, her compassion, and her willingness to help wherever and whenever needed embodies the mission of Lazarus House and the Spirit of St. Charles." There are a lot of Beth Swiderskis in our community who just want to do their thing and don't want to be recognized. But you know what? I'm going to find you. So a huge congratulations to all the people that have been recognized and the people that are going to be recognized. Now we're going to transition over to what we're going to be talking about for the next 35 or 40 minutes. When we were putting this presentation together and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about, there is so much that we could talk about. But what we really tried to do is work with the council, work with staff, and figure out what are the 5 areas that we really want to focus on, and they're right up there. Communication and engagement, public safety, development, infrastructure, our fiscal health, and then we're going to close it out. Before we go any further, though, there are two staff members that I really want to call out because they have been the ones that have been working so hard behind the scenes to make sure that this happened. That's Kara in the back, and that's Lisa right here. If you could just raise your hand here. We apologize for every slide change, including the ones up to 15 minutes ago. All right, communication and engagement. We're going to get it right out of the gate. So I read a quote, and I think it's appropriate to start with, and it says, many people feel shut out of the process. They're in the dark on issues, overwhelmed by facts and figures, and at times even feel manipulated by the system. A philosophy should be focused on hometown initiatives with full citizen participation from all quarters. And we hear you loud and clear. You told us, and you continue to tell us, we want you to tell us what's going on in St. Charles. We want to know it now. By now, I don't mean tomorrow, I mean now. And we'll get things that say, we want to know what's happening right now. And on Sunday, I called Lisa and said, what's going on? And we get to work. But what we've tried to do is we've tried to listen, we've tried to respond, and we're going to continue to do that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Heather, and I want you to talk about just some of the initiatives that we've taken on to try to increase that communication.
So we do have a great communication staff, Lisa and Kara, and up on the screen are 3 different ways that we have always engaged with our community, or at least do currently. Our newsletter, our social media, our press releases. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but yesterday was Mayor Hull's 1-year anniversary with the city, so round of applause for him. But exactly what he said is he walked in the door day one and said, you guys want more information. How do we get more information out? So I just want to highlight that middle panel there that talks about our social media posts. We are up 27% on our social media posts over the last year. That is us trying to make that active effort to get that information out to you. And we know most of the people that are looking for that information are looking on Facebook. So right now, that is our focus. That's where we try to push all that information out. And the other thing I want to highlight that Lisa and Kara do such a great job of is looking at those comments. You may think that we're not seeing those. The two of them, me, the mayor, Derek, we are all monitoring those comments, trying to figure out, do we need to get more information out? Do we need to respond to those things? So we really appreciate that community engagement and just want you to know that we do focus on that and we hear you when you're asking those questions.
Including the post that we said tonight that said, make sure that you come to the state of city, and somebody said, I sure will, my tax bill came today. So we welcome that. But next up, and when we talk about different things, I want to start out by talking about a podcast. So people are out, I'm out walking, driving in the car. We have the ability to have information with us all the time. And our podcast is something that was started that's fantastic. Now, I will admit that this winter, my podcast listening was Illinois men's basketball. Final Four, baby. But after the Final Four was over, went back and started listening to the City Insider podcast. Why is it that you would and should want to go to that Insider podcast? Well, let me tell you why. You want to hear about what the city is doing for the mental health of its first responders, you can find out how we're prioritizing that. You want to hear about economic development and all the things that are going on, including the Charlestown Mall. We've got Derek Conley there talking about all the inside information that you don't maybe have time to listen to. It's all right there. The one that I loved, my number one, was they recapped the Pheasant Run fire. It was so interesting to listen to how they responded, that it was the biggest fire of their career, the concerns that they had, and how they worked together with the police department to solve that. They also just talked about the city labs and the wastewater plants. Not anything that you'd ever really truly appreciate, but when you hear that information, you're just astounded about what our staff does to treat our water and to make sure that we have safe water. And then they have conversations with city council. And we've had 3 wards that have gone. I was listening to Brian Werble, who's our 4th ward. I said, Brian, what did you think? He said, it was a little bit nerve-wracking to begin. Then I kind of liked it. And I think the last thing he said is, now I'm starting my own podcast, right? Life in the 4th ward. But it is a really, really great way for us to communicate. And Derek, I loved, after the Pheasant Run, My second favorite one was the Charlestown Mall. Talk a little bit about the podcast and the Charlestown Mall.
Yeah, I loved being part of the podcast. I think it was a great idea. When Mayor Hull came in, one of his initiatives was we need to communicate more. And it's not just social media, but we came up with this idea for the podcast. And it's really something which by the way, we did do that recording at our great library, which was fantastic, encouraged that service. But what I like about it is not all of our residents want to give up their Monday nights to participate in a 3-hour city council meeting. So what this is a podcast that on your own time, you can listen to it and you can learn about what's going on in the city. And the other thing I like about it is that we get to do a deep dive into these issues. Some of these issues we talk about, they span out over months, years. This condenses it in about 30 minutes or so and really allows us to speak in straight language. We take out the technical jargon and really talk about the issues that we're facing and what we're doing about them.
Yeah. And before we move on, one of the things that they've been very kind to say is, well, Mayor Hall said this. I may have talked about it, but it came from the council as well. We work as one. And so these are the different things that we believed were priorities, and what I'm so proud of is the way that they've gone about in doing it. Next up, and before we do that, second favorite podcast after ours is the Business Alliance. Nick and Nate, unbelievable. They interview and talk to business owners throughout the entire city. So once you're through ours, head over there. Next up, STC alerts. So tell me, Heather, about STC alerts. And when we did this run through, I got my phone out because we want you to get your phone out. You can sign up by going to that. I promise you it works. I can't do it. I told Heather it was my phone. She took my phone. She did it in 2 seconds. So operator error, but tell us about STC alerts.
So this is one that I've been really excited about. We've been talking about it for a while and got it up and running just before the start of the year, but Facebook's great, but we're all busy. We don't have time to necessarily pull up Facebook on our phones and go to the city website to see what's going on. This is a way that you can get information pushed out to your phone through text messages, through email, and you're getting that immediate alert when something's going on. You don't have to make a phone call. You don't have to do anything but receive that information from the city, and it's as quick as we can get it out, you're receiving it. So you may wonder what type of alerts are going on there. We have some simple things like road closures if we've got some traffic concerns. We've got water main breaks. What I really like about this too, for those of us that are more technical, is you can draw a box around a neighborhood and only notify the people in that neighborhood if it's something that affects them, like a water main break. You don't have to go out to your front door to see that red door tag on your door. You know when you wake up and see it that you've got a boil order in place or there's an issue with your water. And I don't know if everybody remembers leaf pickup last year, and we had some
leaf pickup. What are you talking about? Was there an issue with leaf pickup? I don't remember that.
Just slightly. So, we spent a lot of time. Our public works director and public works team was trying to figure out, can we do it? Yes, we can go. No, we can't. Yes, we can go. This would have been a really great way. We did actually send an alert out, but if everybody had this signed up for at the city, push that information out. Leaf pickup's going to start tomorrow. You'd get that instant notification and not have to pass that same thing through word of mouth. So Mayor took my joke a little bit. I was going to offer to have him help everybody sign up here with this QR code, but if you've got your phones out, you can sign up right here, but this is available on our website as well.
Okay, what about leaf pick on Prairie Street?
Bumpy ride.
All right. And then lastly, when we're talking about community engagement, you're going to hear me talk about the Senior Commission. So excited to get that running. So excited Drew Watson's here. He has been the chair. He's been putting things together. And I can't wait to see what they do. They've already talked about things like senior homestead exemption. How many people in St. Charles are taking advantage of that, and what can we do to help? Senior tax freeze. How do we protect our seniors from fraud? What do we need to do? And so I cannot wait to see what that commission is going to do, but it's just another way of how we're engaging. Now, when we're talking about engaging, we also need to talk about first city events. I'm a visual. When I was in court, to me, even as a judge, I needed to see pictures. And when I look at these pictures, I want you just to take a look because it really makes me so proud and so happy of what St. Charles is. When we look up there, you see Cop on Top and the Polar Plunge. What are those? Those are police and fire raising money for Special Olympics. And even though police and fire are the ones that are there and involved, it's the entire city raising money for Special Olympics. Chief, how much money did St. Charles raise? $16,000 that goes right back to Special Olympics. We talk about our veterans, and we have Joe Morgan, who's one of our veterans here today. We have others that are here. Our veterans in St. Charles are very, very important to us, and we celebrate and honor them at Memorial Day, on Veterans Day, and we should be doing it and are doing it, I think, supporting our veterans each and every day. But I love the fact that the city is involved, and I love the fact that our veterans are telling us what they need. We also look at Public Works. When you look at these pictures, you look at the right, and you got City Hall behind with a gigantic fire. You've got, and it's like, well, what happened there? Well, don't worry about it. The city wasn't on fire, and we didn't have anything down there. It was the fire department open house. We invite the community, and if you haven't been there, you need to go. It's an incredible day, and we just had one at Public Works. And what you need to also understand is that as we go through all those city events, those are put on not only by the city, but they're also volunteers. We have the Pride event coming up on June 7th, which is another example of different people in our community, different organizations doing different things on behalf of everybody. Derek, tell me a little bit about, now we've talked about city, but talk about the other events.
Yeah, so something that I've heard the mayor say many times is when it comes to the events, no one does it like St. Charles, and he is absolutely right. Our theme tonight is Progress Through Partnership. Already been mentioned, but our St. Charles Business Alliance, they are in charge of all of our major events that we do here in town, and they do a spectacular job. Some of these parades that we have, bringing in 30,000 people, that's almost unheard of, okay? We have other events where over a weekend, we're bringing in 75,000 people. That's extremely impressive. Not a lot of communities can really pull that off, okay? And so another thing that I want to mention is that this is becoming a rarity for a lot of a lot of communities around the state, because these events are getting more and more difficult. They're getting more expensive. Insurance is going up. We have to invest more money in public safety. Labor is going up. Volunteerism is going down. We don't have that problem here in St. Charles. I see Steve Martin out there, who's been volunteering for decades.
Since 1980, right, Steve?
It's volunteers like Steve working with the Business Alliance that keep these events going on. And for me, it's not just an asset for our residents, it's bringing in people. People from other communities are coming into St. Charles to go to these events. They're going into our businesses and spending money. For me, it's not just about events, this is economic development.
And I'm going to do a little PSA here for the Business Alliance. They run on these volunteers for these events. The Fine Art Show is coming up at the end of May. If you haven't signed up and are interested in participating, please go to their website and sign up to volunteer.
So, and again, Steve, worth recognizing, running those parades since 1980, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. All right, next up, we're going to transition over to public safety. And so this is something that is near and dear to my heart because of my former career. I was a prosecutor for 15 years. I was a judge for another 15 years. I worked directly with the St. Charles Police Department. And I think when you're looking at hierarchy of needs and you're talking about what a city needs to focus on, we need to make sure that you're safe. We need to make sure that our community members feel safe. And it starts with the police and fire. Now, when we start up here, we're talking about a new police chief. And I want to just explain that, first of all, I can tell you in my professional role that St. Charles has always had great leaders. St. Charles has always had great police chiefs. And this year, we needed to hire a new police chief. And so we went about trying to find who that best chief was. Couple different ways you can go about this, right? You can just decide that the mayor is going to do it with the city staff. You can direct this search however you want to direct it. But what we wanted to do is we, number one, wanted to get the best person for that job. And second, we wanted buy-in. We wanted our employees to be partners with us in that search. So this is how we went about it. We went about, first of all, hiring a company and going through to make sure that we were getting the best candidates. Then we involved and asked our patrol officers. We asked our union. We asked our leadership team. We asked our directors. And we asked our city council to interview the final 3 candidates. Did that take a lot of time? It did. What we wanted, though, is we wanted buy-in from everybody. And so we said, hey, when you were looking at these candidates, and all 3 were great candidates, rank them 1 to 3. And what we thought we were probably going to get is, well, the leadership team likes this, the city council likes this, and then we were going to have to try to find that consensus. Well, when we went through and we talked to patrol, when we talked to our non-sworn staff at the police department, our administrators, when we talked about everybody came up with the same number one, and that was our chief, Dan Likens. So we were fortunate to be able to offer Dan that job. Dan took that job. Dan comes to us with 28 years of experience from the Illinois State Police. And what we loved about Dan, there's a lot of things we loved about him, but one of the things we told him is St. Charles is a high-touch community. What do we mean by that? Our residents expect to be able to talk to Dan, to see Dan, to call Dan. And believe me, they do. And so ultimately, he's hit the ground running. He joins an incredible team of directors who are already in place. And so, Dan, welcome to St. Charles. Some other things that we're really excited about are our commitment to our kids, our commitment to our community. We've talked about law enforcement and how it's been, again, honesty is important, and it has been a tough time for police the last 5 or 6 years. It's important to build that trust, and we have a department that wants to. We have community resource officers in our junior highs and our high school. You should see the way they interact with our students. We want our students to trust our police. We want them to know that they can interact with the police. And it also starts with a youth police academy. So for the first time since 2022, we offered a youth police academy. It's starting this summer again. It's a week-long program that when they leave, they're going to be certified in CPR. They're going to tour the fire. They're going to tour the police. They're going to tour the court system. And we're going to have 25 kids who will spend a summer week with our law enforcement and our fire and our agencies. And so capped out, we're on a waiting list and really, really excited about that.
So the other thing I just want to mention about our police department too is that it's tough to be a police officer right now, and we have really great staff here, and the reason we've got really great staff is because of the support of the community and the support of our city council. So people want to be here and they want to work here. So while other departments are having a really hard time getting recruitment in for their officers, I know our HR director deals with this as well, but we're not seeing exactly the same difficulties here. We are drawing candidates in from all over the region, from other departments, and we are getting the best of the best, and that's something to be really proud of.
And the last thing is 24/7, and we know 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We say that, I want you to think about what that truly means. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can call 911 and the police will respond. You don't even have to call the police because the police are there. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, 6 in the morning, 6 at night, 2 in the morning, they're there for you. They're there for us. They're away from their families. So I think it's real important every once in a while just to take that step back and really realize when we're talking 24/7, what that really means. And so again, thank you to the police. Now, yep, we can go. All right, next up, switching to fire. And I didn't really understand how much rivalry there was between police and fire. Recently, there was a Bring Your Kids to Work Day, and the chief brought his son, the police chief. And at the end of the day, he was walking around in a St. Charles Fire Department shirt. So I think that there's more to come with that. But when we talk about the fire department, I want to read you a letter. And this is a letter. This is one of the coolest parts about being the mayor of St. Charles. You get other letters, but sometimes you get letters like this. It was from an elderly citizen, and she wrote to tell me how fortunate she felt to live near Fire Station 3. It was October 11th. Her smoke and carbon monoxide alarm began going off. She couldn't get it off. She became concerned, and she called 911 around 5 p.m. The dispatcher stayed on the line with her until a firefighter arrived. Small details. Firemen came to her door, fully equipped, assessed the situation, and then determined that there was no emergency. Turn around and go home, right? It's not what they did. What happened next, she said, surprised her. The firefighters believed the alarm itself needed to be replaced. Instead of simply leaving, one of them returned from the truck with a detector to ensure that she would feel safe overnight. The following day, because she now had a new detector, she went out and bought a replacement, Actually, she bought more than one and drove to the station because she felt bad that the city had provided one. She even stopped by the station to offer them that, and they told her that they didn't need it, but she said that she planned to put this new one up. They asked her if she needed help. She said, no, I don't need help. I don't want to bother you. They said, we're not bothering us. They insisted that they were happy to assist, just like they do for other seniors and others in need. She said when she returned home, the firefighters had already arrived. She let them in. They installed the new alarm. They tested it, and they explained how it worked. And then as they were leaving, one of them noticed that her American flag had become wrapped up around the pole. The firefighter took a moment to carefully fix it so it could fly properly again, something that meant a lot to her. She later learned the first names of those who helped her, Steve, Don, and Ryan. And she said that this, she said, was her favorite part of the story. Their actions, she wrote, spoke volumes about their character and commitment, not just as firefighters, but as compassionate members of a community who would go above and beyond. She then emphasized that these simple acts, providing an alarm and fixing her flag, meant so much to her. Though she didn't know any of the men personally, she said she felt incredibly grateful and shared their story widely. She hailed them as true heroes, noting in a world with so much going on that they continued to serve others without expecting anything in return. She closed by offering her gratitude, support, prayers, and appreciation for everything that did in town. That's just 3 officers that represent that entire department. And that, when they talk about the Grinch and the heart beating out, when I get a letter like that, my heart explodes. Well done, Jeremy. I'm going to turn it over. Can you talk a little bit about the next 3 points?
Absolutely, Mayor. So the first is our calls to service. So like everybody else, we are dealing with more. We're having to do more with less, and the city is no different, and we continue to try to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. Probably going to repeat that a few times here, but I just want to really emphasize that. In particular, in the fire department, we have had a 50% increase in our call volume over the last 15 years. But for the last 20, we have not hired a single new firefighter. So we continue to try to reevaluate and be creative, and that comes from our fire chief and down through our fire administration on how we can do that and how we can continue to best serve the community. I'm going to lump the next 2 together, not because one isn't important, but because it really defines the fact that our fire department views themselves as ambassadors to the community. Public education is a huge part of what they do, and I've seen it personally. I had a kid in Bethlehem preschool, and fire department goes to preschools and teaches the kids how to get out safely when there's a fire. And they get so excited when they get that connection point, but they're also educating the kids and anybody else that needs it on what to do in these emergency situations. Community outreach is another thing that is really important to them, whether that's waving from the fire truck, stopping at a lemonade stand, or helping seniors with their smoke alarms. They are always trying to help make this community better and make sure that they are part of the community.
So before we go to the next slide, I'm just throwing out a challenge to every one of you. When you are out and about in the community and you see a fire truck, I want you to wave at those guys. Not when they're on the way to a call. But this is what you will find. And I want to challenge you. I want you to do this, because when you wave at those guys, you're going to get a wave back, you're going to get a smile, you're going to get a thumbs up. And that's not because the chief told them to do that. That's because those guys love being firefighters and they love to engage in the community. So I don't know what the bet would be if I lost, but I'm just telling you, try it and then see me. Jeremy, I know you guys are on it. Now, accreditation, tough word to spell. Tell me why it's important.
So this is not just a checkbox. It's not just an award. What the accreditation is, and both our fire department and police department are going through multiple accreditation cycles. So they have already been on board for this for a number of years. Our public works department is just embarking on this process. It is arduous. It is long. It is a commitment, but it's a commitment to show the community that we hold ourselves to higher standards. Accreditation process is really a peer review. It's like an in-depth audit of our practices, our policies, our procedures. Are we doing the best things we can do? Is there room for improvement? How do we improve? And while that, for me internally, is great, I see the return on investment in terms of drawing in new employees to our workforce, having our practices be better, tightening everything up. I sat and thought about, what does this mean to you as residents? And what I ultimately came up with is when you call 911, you know that you have the best of the best responding, and I think that's the best example of that.
And then as we go through here, we have Peter Surr here, who is Director of Public Works. Public Works, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but there are roads, fire, electric, and everything in between. They're now starting their own accreditation process, and I have no doubt that we're going to have an accredited Public Works department as well. All right, moving on. Development. I'm happy that Derek is here. Derek is the expert in that. When we're talking development, we're talking residential, we're talking commercial. I will tell you that one of the things that I hear a lot, being born and raised here, is people say, Clint, you don't want to see St. Charles change. You want St. Charles to be the same community that you grew up in the 1970s. And you know what? There's part of that that's true. I think we all have a nostalgic point of view of our childhood and we want it. But I also recognize that other people want to come and other people want to be here. And so part of that development, both commercially and residential, what we found is there's a lot of people that want to come to St. Charles, and we want them to come as well. And Derek's going to talk about some of those.
Absolutely. First, I just want to start out and say I am so lucky to be the Economic Development Director for the City of St. Charles. It is easy to sell this city. Businesses want to be here. Developers want to invest in this city. It's better for me when my phone is ringing and people say, I want to start a business in St. Charles. How do I do that? Rather than me going out and trying to convince them just to look at us. So that's kind of the first point here. So we've had a lot of great businesses that opened up. We have the photo back behind me of the Whole Foods. They've been open for a year. I put that up there just because for the 2 years that I was here, I got asked every single day, when is the Whole Foods opening? So thankfully, I don't have to answer that, but now it's kind of shifted to how is Whole Foods doing with a little bit of panic in their eye. We're talking to Whole Foods. You know, we've looked at the numbers. They're doing great. They're getting the foot traffic they need. Great to have that in here in our city, and it's great to celebrate those big wins, but I think we need to point out that there are a lot of other businesses in this city, a lot of other small businesses. In fact, in St. Charles, we have over 2,000 businesses here, which is extremely impressive, and those are the businesses that are really the backbone of our local economy, and we want to be there to support them. We do annual occupancy reports on our downtown, our industrial, 98% occupied. There are a lot of other cities they would die to have those type of numbers. So we are really fortunate for that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to, before we go to the next one, I'm going to hop up and down and talk about our existing businesses, because we do always want to celebrate and we do ribbon cuttings, and we're so excited when new businesses come in. But what we have to recognize is that they're here because of the businesses that have already been here. And those businesses are the ones that hire St. Charles residents. They're the ones that have paid St. Charles taxes. They're the ones that are out there and are the reason that people are coming. And there's a lot of longtime businesses, but I think about taking my homecoming date to Salerno's. I think about getting a baseball helmet sundae from Dairy Queen. The list goes on and on. We are blessed to have both new, and we always have to remember those that have been here before us.
So next up, we have Foxhaven Square, which is probably our newest exciting development here in the city of St. Charles. It's over on our east side. It's under construction right now. Many of you probably have driven by it. I'm really excited about this project. One, because when I got here 4 years ago and I was kind of on a little bit of a listening tour, one of the things I kept on hearing is, what about the east side? We want to see something exciting on the east side. The downtown is great. We have great restaurants, but what about over here? We think that this is that project that is extremely exciting and going to be a great amenity for our residents on the east side and our whole city for that matter. So if you don't know about it, 70,000 square feet of commercial space, 4 buildings, going to have a lot of restaurants in there and really some top tier restaurants. So Fire and Wine just opened. Simple EJ's is going to open here soon. That's a sports bar. Rosebud, hopefully later on in the summer here. And then we also have the pickleball facility, which is under construction right now. So that was in partnership with a local resident family, the Greco family. They've made a tremendous investment in our city over here, and we can't wait to see this come out. And I think another important part here is that with the caliber of restaurants that they're going to be bringing in, it's not just going to be for our residents. They're going to be attracting more people from outside our community that are going to be, again, going into those businesses, spending money, supporting our tax base here.
and it's going to enhance our downtown. It's going to enhance, so we're excited about that. I do want to take a moment before going on to talk about Fox Haven and to talk about the fact that what I have to do as a mayor is it's important for me to recognize, and for all of us to recognize, how something like Fox Haven happens. I get to be the one that's the mayor when this opens, but Fox Haven isn't there because of me. Fox Haven is there because of Laura Vitek. That Fox Haven is there because of the city council members who came before. And then even before that, you have to look and you have to think about Mayor Rogina and Mayor Klinkhammer and Mayor DeWitt and Mayor Norris and the council. So this doesn't happen by accident. This happens because other mayors and other city council members appreciated this, took the time to do it. And so it's really, really fun to be the mayor when you get to do that ribbon cutting, but it's really, really important to remember that this was not on my watch. This was done, but the work done before. So if we could give a round of applause to Mayor Vitek and the others for doing that. All right, Derek, former PD site. I think we've heard about this a little bit, right?
Yes, we have.
Did any leaves fall down there? All right, let's talk about it.
So what I want to start out with, actually, with this is our river. It is a tremendous asset for our community. People want to live next to it. They want to recreate on top of it. They want to visit it, okay? So, and businesses want to be by it. So you think up and down the Fox River, a lot of that property is being snagged, right? It's being turned into development, or it's being turned into forest preserve, which is absolutely fantastic. But here in the city of St. Charles, in our downtown, we have a tremendous opportunity here. We own a little under 2 acres of prime real estate right on the river. And because we own it, we get to decide what its destiny is. So this has been a little bit of a process, but starting about 2 years ago, we did do a feasibility study where we learned all types of things about the site. And it's a downtown site next to the river. It's got a lot of challenges. It's in a floodplain. It's got a mess of utilities. It's on bedrock. There are old buildings.
All right, Derek, that's enough.
Okay, enough technical jargon there. So, but, you know, in seriousness, we can work through those things. But the next step that we just kind of completed here was public engagement. And what does that mean? That means we are looking to partner with our residents on this site. We wanted to go to you and ask you, what did you want to see here? So we did that over the course of about 4 months. We had a couple surveys, a couple in-person events. We had tremendous input that was collected there. 2 of the surveys, they generated over 800 responses. That's a lot of data to go through. So absolutely happy with the public engagement that we had there. And the consultant is preparing the report. It should be done here in a little bit, and we're hoping that that's released and presented to City Council in the next month. But our work isn't going to stop there. You know, I know there's a lot of talk about programmed open space, and it seems that we're going in that direction. And if we do, we have to look at, what does that mean? You know, are we doing a band shell? Are we doing a plaza out there? Are we doing public bathrooms? Are we keeping some of the buildings? Are we keeping our parking? Those are all things that we still have to sort out. And again, we're going to be going back to our partners, in this case the residents, to work through that.
And finally, I'll tell you that some of the other comments that I've received is, you're wasting an opportunity. That is an opportunity. That's commercial. It's prime real estate. If you talk about trying to generate income for the city, you should capitalize on that. And that's not lost on us. But what is important to do is to remember that we are partners with you. We are listening. We are listening to our residents. And so we believe we hear the direction we should go. But there's always has to be balance. And I don't think that it just says that we eliminate any economic benefit down there. What the goal is to design something that brings more people down there, brings more people down to our businesses. But we understand that there's always a lot of points of view, and that's why that public engagement piece was so important. All right, next up. If I could do cartwheels, jump up and down, I would do that. Judge Berry House is something that I am so excited about. I know that we're already blowing through our time a little bit, so we're maybe not going to go into the whole thing. That's because of me. I get it. But let's talk Judge Berry House and why that's such an exciting project.
Yeah, so this has been an issue that we've been dealing with for almost a decade now, literally. But essentially what it is this community cares deeply about its history and its character. And we had an older home that was currently vacant and falling apart. and the community wanted to save it. And the city did get involved. It did require both partnership and compromise in working with the Baker Church, but we came up with a solution that I think balanced historic preservation, parking, future development, and our relationships. And we wanted to do all that without just throwing money at the problem, and we accomplished that. So the house is going to be saved. It's going to be put back on the tax rolls, and the city did it, I think, keeping good relationships with everyone involved, and we didn't just throw money at it to solve it.
Yeah, and we're appreciative. Yeah. Appreciative of the Baker Methodist Church and what they did. Appreciative of the city council and how they didn't stop working at it. Appreciative of Bob Rasmussen and Rick Dahl for being there to say, you know what, we're willing to take this on. And there are other developers who I'm looking at them right here because they're here. They deserve to be recognized, but so does Kurt Hurst and all the other developers who are helping us, helping the city continue to go on. So I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in that as a huge success. And then finally, residential development. There's a lot here, Derek, but can you just tell us a little bit about what that looks like and what we're going through there?
Yeah, so to talk about development, we have to touch on residential development. We've had over about 1,000 units added to the city of St. Charles over the last few years. This is the good news. People want to live here. It's our businesses, it's our schools, our libraries, our parks. That's the good news. Developers know this. While I don't see the city of St. Charles growing its boundaries, extensively, we do have these pockets of properties, maybe 25, 35 acres around the city, and developers are going to be looking to develop those into single family or in some cases multifamily development. What's good about that is we're talking about all the businesses coming into the city of St. Charles. What they need is more people visiting them, and that means more rooftops. So that's the benefit. But we have to be mindful. We want to grow as a city in a very smart way, a sustainable way, and strike that balance. So we're going to have some proposals. Actually, we already have some proposals that are being looked at right now, and we just want to be mindful that we're doing the right thing.
Heather, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think the point that Derek has always made too is these developers know exactly how many people they need to support their developments, and they're looking at this number too. So we have to make sure that we are supporting the businesses with the appropriate residential growth.
And as a lawyer and a former judge, for me, process is so important. So there are different issues that are out there, and we have a process where we want to hear from the citizens. We want to hear from surrounding neighborhoods. We have the Plan Commission. We have Committee of the Whole. We have the City Council. And so when we talk about development and residential development, we understand that we want to be engaged and we want to listen, and we are committed to do that. All right, next up. Now, I talk about doing cartwheels and somersaults, and that's not about the Charlestown Mall. I will tell you that, and I mean this, I took my kids there to be on the carousel. I remember when it was new and exciting, and now it's something I think about every day as your mayor. It's something that our city council and our staff think about every day as mayor. I was convinced that when I came in that just a little bit of hard work and a little bit, we were going to get that across the finish line, and here we are a year later, and we're not. And that's not from lack of trying, and that's not from lack of effort. And we could have our state of the city, the Charlestown Mall, and talk about this for 2 hours. We're not going to do that, but we do have information and ways that you can learn more about what we're doing. And so, Derek, start us out of the gate. Where are we at?
Yeah, so the first thing to understand is that this is privately owned. The city does not own that property, but we do have some influence. Literally, we are on the phone talking with the property ownership every single week. So they would really like to unload this property, and we would like to see a project there. Another important thing to point out is that it's not costing us money. It's actually, we do get income from this property. I don't want to make it seem like we are happy with the status quo here. This is an opportunity. We want to see something there, but we do want to be mindful that it's not costing us money right now. I also want to point out one more thing. We have two great businesses that are right there. Classic Cinemas, Von Maur. We're in communication with them. They both want to stay there, and they want to be part of that future development. That's two great anchors to start out with.
All right, Heather, so one of the things you and I talked about is I said, I don't want to just keep doing the status quo. We need to control what we can control. We need to look at what we can do and I think it was your words to put pieces in place. Can you explain that?
That's exactly it. Derek's talked about the things that are outside of our control with the ownership and some of the pieces of the mall itself, but we are working in the background to make sure that we are supporting the potential development of that business. Derek says it a lot, development breeds development. So by having that new development to the west, that's gonna spark some interest in that Charlestown Mall redevelopment. Pheasant Run's gonna be hopefully presenting some plans for us soon. And then the other big piece of it is some of the utilities that are necessary. We've got some major upgrades that we need to make to what we call our trunk main, which is our sanitary sewer line that's running through that area. We need to start that now. City Council has supported that initiative. They funded part of the project so we can start upgrading that. So when that development is ready to go, the pieces are already in place and they can get rolling as soon as they can.
And where do we go from here? Because I get so frustrated. I think everybody gets frustrated. You're just telling me the same thing. We talk about the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And I almost feel like we're here with this piece. I think that we've got to challenge ourselves to think outside of the box. I read articles in the Daily Herald, as do you, in Shaw Media, in the Tribune, about other malls around us who have figured out a way to get this done. We hear all the time, buy it, tear it down. Well, to buy this mall and to tear it down to get it site ready is about a $30 million investment. And so when we talk about buy it, tear it down, we've got to ask ourselves, is that an investment we want to make? Maybe we do. We also are blessed to have local legislators like Don DeWitt and Dan Ugasti and Linda Holmes and others who represent us, who are looking at ways that Springfield can help us, bond programs. So, no? Okay, I got worried. I looked at your face. I'm like, again, we can't, I was worried there for a second. We can't continue to do the same thing, and we get that. And we get that the city wants something to happen as well. When I say the city, all of you. So, more to come. Again, using that QR code, you can really geek out here, but we developed a website. Anything you want to know about the Charlestown Mall, from topography to trunk mains, you can find it right there. Go ahead and, it doesn't put me to sleep. It actually gets me really going. So, all right, moving on to infrastructure. Heather, I'm going to lean hard on you on this one, so let's take it away.
All right.
When I'm driving these streets in my Chevette, Heather said, a Chevette? What the hell is a Chevette? Said...
Like a Geo Metro? I remember that.
It was small, it was good, and it got me up and down Prairie Street in 1983. So let's talk infrastructure.
So infrastructure, I'm sure much to the chagrin of our Public Works Director, I love to play Public Works employee and talk about our infrastructure. This is something that we don't see. We're a service organization, so most of our money is spent on those services, police, fire. Our second most costly is our infrastructure, and these are things that generally are underground and we're not paying much attention to, but they're the important pieces to keeping our community safe, accessible, and enjoyable. On the slide, we've highlighted 3 things that actually are visible to the community and that I think have demonstrated the city council and the mayor listening to your requests. The first is our road program. Last year, we actually doubled the budget for our road program and have a street rating system. We're tackling those really terrible streets. Why is this a benefit to you? Because it's costing us less money over time to redo those streets and keep those in good repair. You're seeing fewer potholes and smoother roads, but we're able to turn those over in a much more cost-efficient way. The second project on there is the 7th Avenue Creek Culvert. If you live over here, I'm sure you have experienced the flooding that plagued this area for years. And this is one where City Council said, enough, we've got to fix this. We have residents that have their basements flooded continually, and it's because of this creek. So Public Works invested in this project. They got the storm water to where it needed to go, and we are no longer experiencing that. And that's a huge impact to those residents that were experiencing that flooding every time it rained. Look over at the Fox River right now, see how high it is, see it's topping the banks. We are getting constant calls from news media asking, what does it look like in St. Charles? How bad is the flooding? Because they are so used to this area getting hit hard. We're not experiencing that now. Our response to them has been, we're a little over the banks on the walking path, but we don't see the same problems that we used to. And you have the city council and the mayor to thank for that.
Derek, I know you're a big biker. I know you're out and about. Tell us about bikeability and walkability, and especially Illinois Street.
Yeah, absolutely. So about 2 years ago, we started a ped and bike plan. So really, we wanted to be a more bike-friendly, a more walkable city. The good news is we completed that plan, and now we get to go to the fun part. Now we get to implement it. So last year, we did do this project here. This was one of our number one requests that we did get, is doing what is called a mid-block crossing on Illinois Street. This is right in front of the Sterling Bank building. People were already crossing here basically on the daily basis, technically illegally. We've gone ahead and we've put in the crosswalk there, which was a big ask. Looking forward, we have more projects in our budget that we're going to be doing this year just to make us a more bikeable and walkable city.
Okay, fantastic. All right, let's talk water, let's talk sewer. It's been something that if you're paying attention to the city, you understand that we just made and took a vote to raise everybody's water and sewer rates. It was not a fun thing to do, and it's not anything that any one of us wanted to do. But I want to just take a little bit of time to highlight the whys. So number one, when I was the first assistant at the prosecutor's office, I started every day by going to my email and figuring out and finding out and being notified as to the number of arrests that occurred in Kane County that night. Now, as mayor, when I go to my email, the email that I get is how many water main breaks did we have? And it is true. We love our historic city. We do. But what we have to understand is that our sewer and water system is 75 to 100 years old. The water mains break, and I almost envision it like a Looney Tunes cartoon where it pops here and we've got a thumb here, and then it pops here and we got a toe here, and then we're chewing gum. But it's happening more and more frequently. Our public works department, just like our fire and police, on call 24 hours a day. They got to go out, they got to dig it out, they got to look at the leak, they got to figure it out, they got to pull pipes out, they got to put it in, and that costs all of us money. And ultimately, what we had to do was make the decision, and the city council did, and it wasn't an easy decision, but it needed to be done to be able to say, how do we solve this problem? Peter and his staff laid out the plan, and now it's time to execute the plan. Next, you've heard a lot about lead pipes. We all understand that lead pipes are not good. What we were told is we had 30 years to fix that problem. Then we were told that 30 years changed to 10 years. The other thing is nobody ever told us that it was coming. 1 minute it wasn't there, and the next minute it was there. So the hit to us as the taxpayers right now in today's dollars is about $84 million, and that's a project that we have to do in 10 years. That's not anything that any city council could have budgeted for. That's not anything that anybody could have planned for. So now it's our responsibility. When I say the taxpayers' responsibility to figure out how to get that done. So we passed those rates, and we're working on that. That's not the end of the story, though. What we have to do and what we're going to continue to do is, number one, we're going to continue to try to work with our legislators to see, can we draw that time out? Can we have more time to do that? We're going to try to apply. We have applied for grants. We've been shut out of those grants because we don't qualify based upon our income. But we're going to look and strive and promote and ask, please make some of those low interest or forgivable grants available to us. We cut down the rates on the electric rates, 5%. I understand that that's not a huge amount, but we're trying to chip away. And the other thing is we had built up a reserve, and we went into our reserves to try to mitigate the impact of that rate increase. The bottom line is I will tell you that one of the things that came up is, are you the mayor? Do you get free water? No, I don't get free water. I don't get free sewer. None of the city council members do. So we are there with you. We're paying the same thing that you are. We understand it's significant. The other thing is this something that we make money off of? Heather, is this anything we make money off of?
Not a dime.
And so it's really important to note that we are just spending what it's costing us. So bottom line, this is one of those things that I'm going to move on, but I'm going to say that as a mayor, I'm really proud of the city council. The city council had to make a tough decision. It's not fun. People have asked, what's the difference between being a judge and being the mayor? Well, when I would make decisions as a judge, even though they didn't like them, nobody told me they didn't like them, at least to my face. Now I walk into Avenue 2 Barbershop, and there's or Jewel or Meyer, and they're ready, and people are, as they should, to tell me they're unhappy about it. But the most important thing is to talk, to explain, and to make sure that you understand that we understand we have to be good stewards. Next up, infrastructure. these are just some of the projects, not going to spend a ton of time on this, other to say homeowners understand there's a million things you want to do in your house, right? You want a new porch, you need a new roof, you need new siding, there's different things that you have to do, and you have to decide what's a want, what's a need, and how to prioritize, and that's what the city council's doing. I'll tell you, when I go to play pickleball, I'm driving across Red Gate Bridge all the time, I look at that railing, and I just hate it. I just hate it. It just makes me, really, all I can think of is, that's not who we are. We have to get that done. But we have to get that done. When somebody goes downtown to park and they're going to the parking garage and they say in Naperville, I can go and I see a parking counter, tells me that there's no spaces or there's 5 spaces, why don't we have that? That's something we need as well. So it's balance, and we're gonna have to work on what we need, what we want, and what we can afford. All right, finally, and by means, we didn't put this last because it's the least important, but let's talk about our fiscal health, Heather.
So I'm going to start, this one's for you, Mayor, talk a little bit about some of the things that you learned when you joined as mayor and about all of our utilities and infrastructure.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot. I learned about the number of streets. So 172 miles of roads that we have to be responsible for. 18,000 parkway trees. Talk about the electric. Talk about the sewer. Talk about plowing streets. Talking about everything that we have to do. And we are responsible for that. Again, today, one of the comments was, I just got my tax bill today. I want to talk about that tax bill. I want to talk about your tax bill too. I want you to look at that tax bill and I want you to ask yourself, are you getting a good bang for your buck? And I will sit and I will argue, not argue because we don't have to argue. I will tell you that I think you are. And when you look at every $100 and you look at where does that money go? 29, and again, we're talking about multiples of 100, but 29 of your dollars is going to police. Another 23 is going to fire. 19 is going to public works. That money is going to provide you with the level of service that you expect and that we need to give you.
And that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, police, fire, response for typically under $1,000 a year. The other thing that we like to highlight on this slide is our electric utility. That's something that most cities do not manage, but one of the things that we get talked about too often is the fact that when our lights go out in St. Charles, they're off for 2 seconds, they're off for 4 seconds, and they flip back on. That is because we manage our own electric utility. We have our own linemen, and we make sure that that stays up and running, and that is just such a valuable and unique thing to have in the city.
All right, next up, I want to talk about, and Steve, you've talked a lot about this with us, but let's talk about bonds.
I'm going to actually start right now with the GFOA award first, just because that's similar to our police and fire accreditation, that we've got an outside organization looking at our audit, looking at our budgeting process. Are we being clear? Are we being transparent? And that's as important to us to have that external verification as it is to have the good practice, because we are opening our books and saying, come look at them. We are doing everything right and to the highest standards. So as far as the bond rating and our actual bond and debt, I want to compare it a little bit to credit cards because I think that's just what makes the most sense for everybody to understand. That AA1 bond rating, that's the second highest we can have as a city. We're talking about a 700 to a 750 credit score. We have a good support for when we want to go out to bond. We have good tax rates, interest rates. That's how that translates to saving dollars for our community. On the right, we've got a chart about our debt. And when I joined the city, one of the things that was really important to me and our finance director the same is that we get that debt down. We're not in dire financial straits, but our debt is a little bit high. We want to make sure that we're able to strategically use our credit card versus having to use it or being told we can't use it anymore because we've reached the limit. So over the last 5 years, we've decreased our debt from $109 million down to below $80 million. So we are making really good progress on that. So when we have these big projects we want to accomplish, we have that freedom on our credit card to essentially do that.
The other thing that I think that I want to emphasize is we just went through the budget process with the city council and we just approved our budget. One of the things that we all heard, that we all talked about was the fact that we understand we need to be good stewards. We understand that we need to dig. We understand that we need to make sure that every year we're looking at our budget to try to figure out how can we provide the best services at the lowest cost. So the council has made a commitment to one another, made a commitment to you that this year, the budget process just ended and it's already started back up. We've got budget workshops planned where we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to continue to talk about those expenditures and we're going to ask ourselves, is this something that we need? Is this something that we want? And I'm looking forward to that process. And I mean that when I say I'm looking forward to that, because what we need to do is we need to do that review, and we need to make sure we can look you in the eye and tell you that we are good stewards of your taxpayer dollars. All right, so I just want to end with a couple different things. Number one, this was a new idea. We're going to be looking for feedback, but I'm so appreciative that you took the time to be here tonight. It means a great deal to all of us that you took the time. Second is when I look at this last year, and the reason we're doing the State of the City now is because it's our fiscal calendar. So when I look at this last year, I feel I'm very proud of what the city of St. Charles has done. And I know that as I look back at this last year, that there were challenges. There were times when our city council chambers were packed, and people wanted to come in and they wanted to talk about our energy future. They wanted to talk about the Berry House. They wanted to talk about ICE in our community. And I will go back again and tell you that I would welcome those sessions every day versus having a community that doesn't care. I will also tell you that what I've learned as your mayor is I've been told over and over and over again that you need to have thicker skin, that you shouldn't let the comments hurt so much. But I will tell you, and I think it's important to share, not only myself, but the council members, we're there for you and we're there to listen. But I think it's also important to remember that we're there to serve. And I think that as we hear those comments, understand that we are there with you and we want the best things for the city of St. Charles as well. We may not always agree. And when I say we, I mean collectively as the community. But when I look back in the past and I look at the challenges that St. Charles has faced, whether it's a Red Gate Bridge, whether it's a Prairie Street Bridge, no matter what those challenges are, when you look back in history, what you found is that St. Charles steps up to the challenge. We see those as opportunities. And we are the community today because of the decisions that were made in the past. And we're going to do that in 2027. And I'm looking forward to that. I love our council, I love our staff, and I love our community. And I will say it time and time again, and this is something that's really important to me. We are St. Charles. We are St. Charles. And I am proud of you, and I am proud of our community. And thank you so much for your attendance tonight.